grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Boss Business with Cee,
and Tee.
where we educate our listeners on the ins and outs of starting, marketing, and maintaining a business. We are giving you guys the good, the bad,
And the ugly.
Yes, we are also interviewing successful business owners, small business owners, and our future business owners. So tune in and grab a friend. The topic of today's episode is this really what you want? A lot of people think, I want to start a business, but we're going to help you decide, do you really want to start that business or not? So let's first start with, what is our drink of the week?
Oh, the drink of the week is butter pecan moonshine. All right. So every year we go to Gatlinburg, sometimes twice a year, any moonshine distillery. Please do it for me. Do it for yourself. Get you some butter pecan moonshine. You can mix it with some coffee. You can drink it straight.
Oh,
It's
God.
good. I love it. I get it every time we go. I get like 2 bottles every time we go. So get your butter pecan moonshine.
All right, so let's get into today's episode. Is this really what you want?
See, let me ask you a question. What was your motivation to start your first business?
All right. So me, I'm a sucker for helping people, right? I've always been the type to find a problem. I need to fix that problem, right? If somebody else is having a problem, that same problem, guess what? All right, let's fix it. And I'm always the type to speak up. So I got right out of high school. I started working right away. I never worked in fast food, anything like that. I went straight to the big time, the corporate jobs. Every job that I got, I moved up the ladder. I started as a temp. I got permanent. I'm supervisor. I'm moving up. But I noticed that the higher up I got on the ladder, I realized that there were flaws in the actual system. But they will only let me make so many changes. They only give me access to, I can change the process, right? Yeah. But I can't change the system, because these systems of these corporate jobs, they're set in place for years and years and years. So they make you feel, okay, you're a little important, but you're not important enough, Right. So I'm like, wait a minute. So then I realized I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. I feel a certain way, and then I'm hearing my coworkers, I'm hearing that people at other jobs are feeling the same way. So I'm like, all right, let me create my own system, so that I can make the changes and I can run the system the way that I wanted to run my system. So that was my motivation to start my own business and start my own system.
That's dope. Just be your own boss, huh?
Right.
It's crazy. So I like our dynamic, because I was the complete opposite. So at 14, 15, I was working at Burger King. I was on a time restriction. They would only let me work until about 7 o'clock, like right out of school. And then I would just walk on to Burger King and be a little cashier. But over time, I realized that every job I've got into, I learned their system. I just stuck to the system and just did it their way. And so I just gradually moved up. So I was at the cashier front desk, and then they moved me to the drive-through window. Then they let me learn how to, anyway. So I was always just following the system. And then as I got older, I started to realize that I'm not getting anywhere. So I was just working at a job, just going through the motions and not enjoying it. Just and then you realize when you're at that job, they only pay you just enough to keep you there. But they don't pay you enough to do what you want to do, but they just give you just enough. So you can't go anywhere else, because if you go somewhere else, and then that period of, I gotta find another job, I'm not getting a paycheck, and so it's like I might as well just stay, because I can't make it 2 weeks without a paycheck waiting on a job. So just as I got older, that motivation came from just struggling, man. So my my parents. So growing up, my parents, they've always been hard workers, no college degree. My dad, when I was born, he was working for a job. He got tired of it, and so he started his own business. And so he started his own business. We moved to Mississippi a few years later. Well, later on in life, we ended up moving to Mississippi. And then because he was getting older, he didn't have the insurance to be able to cover like the sickness and all the other stuff. He wasn't sick, but just the insurance bill was
Right.
high. So he had to go back into corporate America. And so being black in America, I was able to see firsthand how they did him. And so, which ultimately led from them moving from Mississippi to Florida and having to leave me back in Mississippi. So I'm in Mississippi by myself, alone. I got a few family members here and there, but I was just on my own, like by myself. And so I had to find a job, and I was struggling. I was struggling to pay my bills, living paycheck to paycheck. It was rough, man. So
Right.
I had to do something to supplement my income. I had to figure out something. I didn't want to sell drugs. I didn't want to do nothing illegal. So I had to figure out something to supplement my income so I wouldn't be begging for money. And so that's why I got into the industry I'm in now. And so it was just, I was just tired of the struggle. Like, you talk to anybody, like, hey, why you started a business? I was just tired of the struggle. So it was literally, I was just tired of the struggle. I was a victim of the system, chose not to be a victim.
Right.
So I decided to do something for myself, take my matters into my own hands. And so that's why I was able to start my
Right.
businesses.
And a lot of people, their families are their motivation. They get tired of the struggle. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. At some point, I would never say don't work a 9 to 5. I would
Right,
never talk down on the people that decide to work a 9 to 5, because the business life is not for everybody.
right.
If that's what works for you, that's what works for
Mhm.
you. But at the same time, at some point, you get tired of the struggle. Just like you
Exactly.
said, you tired of struggling. You get tired of
Mhm.
living paycheck to paycheck. You want to take a trip, you want to take your family out to eat on a random Saturday night and not have to
Right.
save for months at a time just to be able to go out. You know
Checking
what
your
I'm
bank
saying?
account every 5 minutes, making sure don't nothing get drafted. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, we got enough.
you
Yeah,
know,
don't get the water though. Don't get no drink. Get the water.
right. We can't have no alcohol, but we
Right.
can get
Yeah.
that two
Not.
for 20. Right. So you get, at some point, you get tired of that, and you're just like, you know what? I need to make a change for my family. I need to make a difference. I'm tired of struggling.
Mhm.
So, like you mentioned, your parents, you have growing up in the house, you have your parents. Do you think that your parents influence you to be like, let me step up and start my own business? I'm tired
Ooh.
of the struggle. I see my parents did it. Do you think that kind
Mhm.
of influenced your decision?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because, like I said, I kind of skipped a lot in the process in the beginning, but like I said, my parents, like, my dad, he had his own business doing upholstery. It was Thomas Upholstery. So keeping the name strong, man. So even when my business is Thomas everything, whatever. But keeping the name strong, he had Thomas Upholstery. He was doing upholstery. So when I was growing up, I would go and help him do jobs, but he was doing that for so long. And so that's really all I knew him doing was his working his own business. My mom, she was she is heavy in her ministry, her spiritual ministry. So she was a full-time minister, but on the side, just to supplement her income, just to get some food during the day and some gas, that she also had a side business. So my mom had a business on the side. My dad had his own food business. And so just seeing how that dynamic was, how we I almost 30 now. I can admit that yeah, I was the only child, but I was spoiled. I got
Hmm.
anything I wanted. I worked for it. I'll go help my dad do a little job, and I worked for it, but I really got everything I wanted. So I just want to commend them. Um, yeah, so just watching them in that process growing up of owning your own business, owning your own time, like they had the time to do whatever they wanted. They had the funds to do whatever they wanted. And so growing up, they didn't go to college. So they went to high school, got their degree, but they neither one of them went to college and they're still successful.
Right.
So growing up, it was like, okay, cool. I need to start my own business. Like it's okay to work a 9 to 5. It's okay to have a job, but sometimes you gotta take your time back. You gotta take your freedom back. And so working your own business it was a big influence on my life. It it really was. And so now, like, I see the importance of having your own business.
Right. And that's why I feel like this episode is so important because we're complete opposite, right? So
Yeah.
like you spoke about, you grew up in a house where your parents, they both own their own business,
Mhm.
which is absolutely 100% complete all, that's awesome. Like for you to grow up and see that. But for me, I grew up completely different, right? My family, I wasn't raised around the entrepreneur mindset. We talked
Mhm.
about in episode 1 that generational wealth. We
Yeah.
talked about how we're not taught growing up about, owning your business, starting your business.
Yeah.
That was me. My parents, they live paycheck to paycheck, just like the average black family does.
Mhm.
I grew up Louisiana. What we doing? We
Yeah.
live in paycheck to paycheck. You know, I was taught you go to work, you keep your head down, you do what you're supposed to
Mhm.
do. You don't ask no questions, you don't start no problems, you
Right.
don't let them people fire you.
Right.
But for me, once I grew up and I actually got old enough to get my own job and I got old enough to see how the system works, I'm like, that ain't enough.
Mhm.
I don't want to go to work and keep my head down. I don't want to go to work
Mhm.
and not question something that doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're telling me this is the rule. You have to follow the rule. That don't sit right with me. I want
Right.
more. I don't want my kids to ever have to work for somebody. I want them to own their own business. I want them to take over whatever business I have. My youngest
Mhm.
child is 8. By the time she's 18, she finished with school, get your education. Guess what? No college, you're going to take over this business, and get into the business
Yeah.
world. Let's change the narrative that black people go to work and live paycheck to paycheck. Black people, we go to work, we keep our head down. You might get a supervisor position, but guess who the manager is? White. Guess who the
Yeah.
CEO is? White. Guess who the VP is? They're
They'll
not
sprinkle every once in a while, just
every
for
once in
the
a while.
just to have it, but for the most part,
Right.
you can't say nothing. You just go sit there.
Exactly. And if you do make it to the top, it's for looks. In my opinion, it's just to say, okay, we have a black person that's up
Yeah,
here in the
yeah.
office. We have a black person that's the secretary to the
Exactly.
CEO,
It's we got yeah. Hmm.
right. So for me, I would say looking at the way that I grew up and seeing, not to say nothing was wrong with the way I grew up at all, because our bills was always paid. We always
Hmm.
had lights. We always had food. I'm very appreciative for that. But I just wanted more. I want to take my child on trips. My child has had a passport since she was 6 years old. I want her to explore the world. That's what I want for her. But where does it start? It has to start somewhere. So for me, that was my motivation. It has to start with me. So I
Yeah.
decided I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna change
Mhm.
it basically.
Yeah. So let me preference this whole conversation with saying there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. There's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with working for a company, working for a business, because I know a lot of people that's where they start. So a lot of
Right.
people, like, they go through the process. They go to school, go to college, get out of college, get a job, get married, start a family. Like, that's just the process for them. And then they've seen other people do it and were successful. And so they're fine with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is Boss Business Podcast. So going to work and working for yourself is
Yes.
two totally different feelings. And
Yes.
even like myself, like, so I do have a 9 to 5, but I do have businesses on the side. And so it really changed my mindset. Actually, me and my best friend was talking the other day of he he has a 9 to 5. um the job a lot of people want. A lot of people go to school for, going in student loans and debt, and get out of college and then get the job, the dream job, and then still be in debt. A lot of people got that
Right.
job, but he was saying that a lot of people that he used to work with stressed out, sick. Some of them have even passed away at an early age just because of the stress that they're in. And so when they're in that job, now that he has businesses, now that he have a business on the side and doing other things, he's happy to go to work because he know that this is just one day closer to my dream, one day
Right.
closer to me leaving this job. And so that's why I always look at it. So that's why I do work my 9 to 5. I try to be the best employee I can because I'm learning. So I've
Right.
learned so much from my job, and it put me in a position to be able to talk to people that I wouldn't be in if I wasn't at that job. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with a job, but
Right.
use that to fund your dream. So just
Right.
like it's a one of my mentors, he said you work your business, you work your job to fund your you know your lifestyle, your bills and everything else, but you work your business to fund your dream. So if you're gonna go to work hard for somebody else, you need to go home and work twice as hard for yourself because it's gonna take twice the effort, the time, and the resources.
Right. And then when you think about it, going straight out of, okay, let's say you straight out of high school, like you said, you go to
Mm.
college, you are in college for so many years just to get a job that's paying for you being in college for so many years. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like I'm in college, cool, I'm getting an education, I got a degree. Now I got to spend the rest of my life paying back those student
Yes.
loans,
Yeah.
paying for that degree. So it just don't make sense. But the reason why if it's why I say if a 9 to 5 works for you, it works for you because we
Mm.
need people that work a 9 to 5. Once our business get big, guess what? We need people that's okay with working, but
Exactly.
you don't want to stump their growth. So you go, when I was working a 9 to 5, I'm at the 9 to 5, I'm looking at management, right? Because I'm looking at this as a learning experiment. I'm not looking at it as I'm stuck in this 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I'm looking at it as how do you run this system? I'm working in this big corporate
Yes.
job. Y'all have all of these offices all over the world.
Mm.
How do you run that system? Okay, let me talk to management. If the
Right.
CEO comes in, guess what? Let me talk to you, sir. Let me
Mm.
ask you, where did you get started? How did you get started? It's nothing wrong with you being in a 9 to 5 because that's how you get access to them people. Because nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, the CEO is not on a podcast giving you free game. you
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
you have to be in that 9 to 5 for them to even talk to you.
Mm.
So it's fine if you want to work your 9 to 5,
Yeah.
but don't stop at a 9 to 5. If you have
Right.
dreams of being bigger, you have dreams of I want to create generational wealth. I want my kids to never have to work for nobody. I want my kids to never have to punch a clock. All right, start at your 9 to 5, get all of
Mm.
the information that you can, learn what's going wrong, talk to them employees. My
Yeah.
coworker is upset. Why are you upset? What don't you like
Mm.
about the system? What don't you like about the process? What don't you like about the policy? So that when I create my own system, I'm gonna take that to heart. So you didn't
Right.
like that you only get a 30-minute lunch and you don't even have time to go off and go to
Right.
McDonald's or go to Pizza
Because
Hut.
it's 15
Okay,
minutes away. You going
right,
right back. Yeah. It's yeah.
right.
So
So
I
okay.
like the yeah. So I would say taking the initiative, especially if you have
Right.
a 9 to 5, because as we know in business, we're going to do a lot of stuff that we don't get paid for anyway, but we know it's going to come on the
Absolutely.
back end. But in the beginning, you're going to work a lot and get paid a little. So if you're already at a job, take the initiative to learn something new. Talk to the people, but learn something new. It's so many times. You ask somebody at a store or something and be like, "Hey, can you do this or can you do that?" And they be like, "That ain't my job. I don't get paid for that."
Uh-huh. Right.
Well, let me tell you, even if it ain't your job and you don't get paid for it, if you learn how to do it, it can eventually become your job. If you
Yes.
learn how to do it, you get that job, you can be eventually train somebody else to do that job. And they're
Yes.
gonna pay you for what you know and your experience.
Yes.
So do something for free for somebody, and because in the end, a lot of people are gonna be doing something for you and you barely work for it. So if you want to start a business, if you want to start a business and you're in a 9 to 5, learn as much as you can from that 9 to 5. Learn the ins and the outs, take on new tasks, take the initiative, do as much as you can within reason, and don't don't do too much that like
Exactly.
stuff that's questionable. But within reason, do what you can and learn as much as possible, because when you do have your business, you're gonna already know this stuff. You're gonna be ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. You have to be willing. Anybody I have ever in my life worked with will tell you I never mind doing going above and beyond. You want me
Mhm.
to do something that's beneath my pay grade? Guess what? I'm gonna do it. You want
Do
me to do something that's above my pay grade, but you ain't gonna pay me extra for it? But
it.
okay,
Do it
I'm
anyway.
gonna do it because
Mhm.
why? Like you said, I'm getting the experience. So now I have my own businesses. I'm not working a
Mhm.
9 to 5, but I have that experience. I know what it's like to work different levels of the company,
Yeah.
and those different levels and that experience that you get, you can apply that to any business. Every business runs exactly the same, whether it's the medical field, whether you're an electrician, whether you're a plumber, whether you own
Yeah.
OnlyFans, whether
Hey,
you're
all
a stripper. Business, listen, business is business. Every business runs the same. So a lot of people feel like, I'm not doing that. I'm a cashier. I'm not about to go get that off the shelf. I'm not about to go stock. All right, but guess what? When you get your own business, guess what? You get an inventory. You selling that inventory.
stocking.
You taking that payment for that
Yep.
inventory. You stocking. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
every business runs the same. You have to be willing, like we discussed in our last episode. You can't be lazy. You have
Mhm.
to get up and do it. You have to be willing to take initiative and actually do something about it.
Okay. That's good. All right. So you mentioned going against the grain. Was that an easy process for you? Going against the grain in business, against your job, and then switching from a job to having your own business? How was that process?
Whew, it definitely was not easy. Let me say, you absolutely have to have tough skin when it comes to running your own business, right?
Mhm.
Let me give you a fact. 20% of businesses startup fails in the first year, right? What does that mean? Out of everybody a year, everybody that starts their own business, about 20% of y'all will fail in your first year.
It's
You
just
have to
part
be
of
okay with that. You know, you
it's
have
just
to
part
be
of it.
okay. It's just part of it. You can't fail and be like, oh, I'm going back to working at Walgreens. I'm going back to working at Walmart. It's just not for me. I
Mm.
failed. I didn't make no money. Listen, most businesses don't make any profit their first year of business. Your first year, when you start your business, you will spend so much money and you won't see a dime. If you see money, cool. There's different businesses
Yeah.
that you can do where you can spend little money to start it up and you may make something, but you have to
Mhm.
be okay with not making anything for your first year. You know what I'm saying? It just has to, you have to have tough skin. You can't be sensitive.
Right. And this is the ugly for the folks that's out there listening.
The ugly.
The ugly, because it's not pretty, man. It's not pretty when you
Right.
every from your job, you spending money from your job on your business, and you don't see nothing in return. Or when you finally do start making a, I'm not even gonna say a profit. When you start bringing in income from your business, it has to go right back into that business to keep that machine rolling. And so it's ugly. You're gonna see a lot of bad days.
Yes. Bad
And then
weeks.
even on the right, bad weeks, bad months. And then you're gonna have that one day where it's just gonna pop.
Yes.
And then the next few days it may you may be sitting there eating ramen noodles. But I know, like, even on my side of the industry, like, having tough skin is imperative because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with different kinds of people, different emotions. And then even on the other side, if you're dealing with products. So I know during the pandemic last year, it was rough. So we sell products, but we couldn't get the products. So how you gonna
Right.
sell a product you don't have?
Right.
So during that time, everything was down. Manufacturing was down, shipping was down, customer service was down because everybody was at the house. They was trying to work from home, but there's only so many people that they can answer so many phone calls. So we was going through not having product to finally getting the product to not having bottles to put the product in to finally getting the bottles to put the product in to not having nobody to deliver the product from and then on top of that, a lot of people lost their jobs, and so now the income is slowing down because people don't have the money to buy the product
Right.
that you promote. So it was crazy. So you have to definitely have to have that tough skin to just fight through it. And then you have to learn how to manage because if you just the money that you made a month ago, if you blew
Right.
it a month ago and now you're going through a winter season, it's gonna
Hmm.
be rough because you do have business has its seasons, and so you have a season where everything is going great, it's clicking on all cylinders, and then you have a season where everything just slow down.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared for that. That's why you're here, so we can prepare you for those seasons to come.
Right. I mean, and some things are just completely out of your control. You
Mm,
have to be flexible. Like you said, you have product shortages, you got shipping delays. I know around holiday time, everybody want to do
mm,
Black Friday sale.
right.
Everybody want to do Cyber Monday. Everybody want to do Christmas sales. All right, but guess what? Them FedEx drivers, them UPS drivers, the
Mm,
postal drivers, it's gonna be some delays. So you
right.
have to be flexible. You can't be upset or you can't let that discourage you and feel like, you know what, Black Friday, my items didn't ship in 2 days. It took 5 days.
Mm,
So I'm not gonna do a sale for Christmas. I'm not gonna sell nothing for Christmas because I'm discouraged. You have to be flexible. It's a lot of different things that you're gonna deal with. People, you have to deal with rude people. This is the day and age of
gotta
social
love them.
media. This is
Yes.
social media's day and age. 2021, 2020, 2022 belongs to social media, right? Black Twitter is so
I'm
big.
scared to go on that. I don't even have a Twitter account just because of
Oh,
that.
I don't. I don't, because I don't want to end up on Black Twitter. Do you
Ooh.
know if your business ends up on Black Twitter and it's negative things being said about your business, it can
Mm,
either make or break your business. Either
yeah.
you gonna boss up, you gonna over, because 9 times out of 10, if someone is like bashing your business, it's because of a misunderstanding. It's
Mm,
never the full details that's put out there. All right, you got a customer, they didn't get their order in 2 days, they got it in 5 days. So what they gonna do? I'm going on Black Twitter, this business,
and say everything
this,
negative.
yeah,
They
like,
finally got their product and they love it, but because it took
yeah,
an extra 3 days,
because them
they
extra 3 days. So what do? They go on Black Twitter. Oh, this business, their customer service is horrible. They didn't answer me in 24 hours. It took them 72 hours. This business, their shipping takes so long. I hate them. People don't go on Black Twitter when you're doing good,
right.
So you
Just when
have
it's
to,
bad.
you gotta bounce back from it. Okay, somebody give it a negative. I understand. You don't have to entertain it, but you have to have tough enough skin to say, look, I'm gonna speak my piece. This is what it was. It was shipping delays because of the holidays. It was a
Mm,
misunderstanding because of XYZ. If you want to drop a screenshot, go ahead, drop your screenshot and move on from it. Don't let that ruin your business to where you feel like, oh my God, I got a negative review. I got a 1-star review. I'm just about to stop. This business is not for me. I'm not meant to have a business. You can't
yeah,
let that completely break you, but you have to know going into your business, is this for you? Is this right for you? Do you have what it takes to not let that break you? Do you have what it takes to say, I'm dealing with rude customers, I'm dealing with shipping delays, I'm dealing with product shortages, I'm able
yeah.
to deal with that. So you have to
Ooh,
decide,
ooh.
you know.
And another thing, tough skin. So don't be surprised if your family and your friends
Oh,
don't support your business.
Jesus.
Lord. All right.
Say it again, say it again, say it again, say it again.
Don't be surprised.
Well,
Because we telling you right now not to be surprised
today,
if your family
and
or your friends
well,
don't support your business.
well,
It's a many reasons why. Because they know who you are, they know how you was
amen.
growing up. You probably still owe them money, and so how you gonna start a business and you owe me money? They probably hating on you on the low because you
Yes,
probably doing better than them.
mm,
Oh my god, it is so many reasons
it's a
why,
lot of
and
reasons.
people will let friendships go because they
Oh,
didn't support your business.
oh my God! Listen,
Oh my
listen.
goodness.
Anytime someone asks me, see, what is one business advice you want to give to people? I promise you, any interview I have ever done, anytime I have ever been questioned, my number one advice: do not stop because your family and friends don't
Oh
support you.
my
Because guess
goodness.
what? They're not gonna support you. But it's a billions of people in
Mm,
this world. It's
that's
billions of
waiting to spend their
strangers
money.
that's looking for what you have to offer. If you
Mm,
came up with an idea that's good enough for you to start a business, it's because people need this business. People need what you offer. So you telling me that because your cousin Bonquisha is not gonna support your business and she not gonna buy what you have to offer, you just not gonna start your business. Please don't tell me that.
You waiting on this one person.
One
You
person.
just not even gonna start your business, or you gonna start it, and your one family member gonna say, "You know what you doing?" Or "I don't
Yes.
think you should do that," and you say, "You know
Oh,
what? You right. You right. I don't think I should do what you said. I don't think I should do."
now you missing out on money. You stuck in your 9 to 5.
And
You
they
stuck in the struggle.
stuck in the struggle too. Stuck in the struggle together.
So we struggling together.
We just struggling together. I want you to struggle just like me. If you start a business, you might actually be successful. No.
But listen, you gotta understand. You have older people in your family, right? So we talk about generational wealth all the time. I'm so big on generational wealth because, like I said in the beginning, my family growing up, my mom lived paycheck to paycheck, my dad lived paycheck to paycheck. So when I come to you and I say, "Hey, look, I'm starting a business," girl, you sure you want to do that? Why not just go to work when you got a for sure paycheck that you're making every 2 weeks? Well, that's just not for me. So
Right.
I'm going to proceed with my business. I'm going to let you know along the way, this is what I'm doing. You see me out here in these streets. You see me on social media. You see me on Google. You see me on commercials. You know what I'm saying? So do it anyway. You know, it don't matter if your mama support you. It don't matter if your dad support you. It don't matter if your favorite cousin that you used to have sleepovers with support you. Do it anyway because you know your motivation. We talked about the very beginning. What is your motivation? You know what your motivation is. You know why you're doing it. Stick with it. It don't matter who support you. Go into your business thinking, I don't have my family support.
Right.
I don't have my friends support. If they support you,
Good.
However, don't let that stop what you got going on. Okay, I told my mom I'm about to start a second business. Girl, you sure you want to do that? Your first business is doing good. Why don't you just settle with that? Okay. I'm going to proceed with it anyway. I'll keep you updated. And then they'll see, they'll fall in line. They might not jump in line on day one when but you starting. But when you going up and up and up, they're going to climb on. They're going to hop on that ladder. You know?
That's what I've always heard. I've always heard that people won't support you until it's popular to support you.
Oh, yes.
And then, I know them too. That's my cousin. I was your cousin 2 years ago when I was struggling, but I'm their cousin now. Okay. Yeah, they're not going to support you till it's popular. They're not going to post your stuff until they see somebody that they look up to post it. And then, okay, I'm going to go ahead and post it too because I want to support. I want to train. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just started my business. I say, hey, cuz, can you post this on your page? I don't know, cuz I just like to post myself on my page. All right, 2 years later, I'm on the shade room. Oh, that's my cousin. Let me repost. So you mean to tell me you gonna repost me on the shade room, but you wouldn't repost me 2 years ago when I asked you to help me get to that level? It's cool though.
It's
but
cool.
no hard feelings.
Cool. There's some strangers gonna make you a millionaire.
Oh,
you don't even
yes,
know yet.
indeed. Oh,
that
yes.
You don't even know yet.
Absolutely. But it just all goes back to your motivation. Why you're doing it. Are you doing it for the right reasons? You know, are you doing it because everybody else is doing it? Are you doing it? Right. What's your reason?
Oh, that's important too. That's important because last year, during this pandemic, people were sitting on ideas.
Oh.
And guess what? Some of them even followed through on it.
Yes.
So last year alone, 4.4 million new businesses were created during 2020.
Oh.
Think about that. 4.4 million new businesses were created in the United States during 2020. So 4.4, I'm not even going to say, it could be people. Let's just say 4.4 million people were sitting on ideas, just sitting there, and they decided, I'm going to go ahead and start a business. And that's great. That is to be commended. But where was that a year ago? Where was that motivation a year ago? You could have started your business a year ago, been ready for 2020, and it could have taken off.
Right.
However, are you doing it because everybody else did it? Everybody you saw on social media was starting a business, so I'm gonna start a business too.
Right.
Or was it because you now had the time And if you did, that's great, because a lot of people, their first excuse is, I don't have time to start a business. And so now during the pandemic, everybody's sitting at the house. Now you have that time to map out your plan. Now you have that time to write it down and make the plan clear so you can go ahead and execute. And honestly, that is to be commended, because 4.4 million is a lot. I don't know
Whew.
how many of those businesses stayed true to what they did in 2020, but just to start 4.4, that was amazing. And I've always heard that a lot of the greatest ideas you can find are in the grave right now. So
Right.
just think, if the pandemic would have never happened, 4.4 million new businesses may not have started, and probably would have never started
Right.
had it been for the pandemic.
That's so crazy. That is so crazy.
Mhm.
4.4 million businesses. And that's where having that tough skin and being flexible, like we just discussed, that's where that comes in. Because out of those 4.4 million people, right?
Mhm.
1 in 4 entrepreneurs will fail once before succeeding. So
Mhm.
out of all of those people that started their business, like you said, are they still around? I don't know.
Mhm.
Because 1 in 4 entrepreneurs will actually fail. But if you have that tough skin and you have your motivation, you have your plan, you can always look back at your motivation. I like
Mhm.
to just write down when I set, okay, I want to start a business. Why do I want to start a business? This is my motivation. Let me
Mhm.
write it down, put it on a little sticky note. Let me put it on a window. Let me put it in my office space so that when I fail, I know I can look back at it.
Mhm.
I'm sitting at my desk. If I failed at something, if I have them hard times when I'm not making money, if, because like we said, you start a business, you might not make money that first year. Some people are fortunate enough to make money that first year, but you have to make it through. And you can't be them three entrepreneurs that did fail and just decided, I'm just giving up.
Right.
You failed, get back up. All right. Plan A didn't work. Okay, what's plan B? What did I do wrong in plan A to make it fail? Could I have done something differently? You have to step back, analyze, be flexible, be willing to change, be
Right.
coachable, be willing to learn what went wrong when I tried it the first time. My motivation is I want to stop struggling. My motivation is I want to build a system that helps everybody. My motivation is I want to make a difference. Okay, that's my motivation. This plan failed, I'm on a plan B
Mhm.
because my motivation is still in mind. I just have to figure out a different way to get there. I
Right.
might not be able to take the
Route.
narrow road. I can't
Mhm.
take this route, but guess what? You make a wrong turn, something goes wrong. If you driving, you following the GPS, there's an accident in the road. What Siri say? Rerouting,
Reroute.
rerouting, rerouting, because you're gonna get to your destination. But
Mhm.
if you decide I'm just gonna pull over, I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna go back home because I'm comfortable at home. Don't reroute me, Siri. Don't give me another
Right. I'm gonna just
destination.
go home.
I'm gonna just go home because I'm comfortable in a struggle. I live paycheck to paycheck. I might
Mhm.
can't buy a steak dinner on a weekend, but I'm
I'm
okay.
comfortable. I'm okay with
I
it. I'm
mean,
comfortable.
I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
Love it. And so it's crazy. That motivation. I think a lot of people fail to realize that starting a business or running a business is mostly mental.
Absolutely.
If you can so we talked about physical stuff and going through like what may happen that you can't control, but what about the stuff that you can control? A lot of
Yes.
stuff is mental. So going back to your motivation, going back to your why, I've always heard that your why should make you cry. What does that even mean? Your why should make you cry? The reason that you start this business should be so strong
Right.
that it gets you out of bed when you don't feel like getting out of bed. It wakes you up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when you don't feel like getting up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
It can be anything from anything other than yourself, because being in that comfort zone, you so used to saying, oh, I'll just put it off, or I'll survive, or I'll just deal with it when I deal with it. But when your why is connected to somebody other than yourself, it could be your child, it could be your parents, it can be your loved ones, it could be anybody other than yourself. If your why, your reason why you start that business is based on something else, you're gonna see it through.
Right.
That mental aspect, that mental toughness is gonna push you and pull you until you get to where you go and you get to your destination. And a lot of people fail to realize that is a lot of it is mental. If you can
Right.
break through those mental barriers, you will be successful.
I mean, you are your worst critic. You
Mm,
are your biggest enemy. You like you said, I agree 100%. You have to decide, is this something that I truly want? Is this something that I want long term? Am I just looking to get rich,
mm,
in a matter of a month? Am I looking for like a get rich quick type of thing? Or do I actually want to have this business long term? Is this something that I want to pass down to my kids for generations and generations to come?
mm. That is so true. So for you personally, how long did you plan on? So let's see which one. Okay, your bonnet business. How
C's
long did you
Design
plan?
Shop.
C's Design Shop at C's Design Shop
C'sDesignShop.com. I mean,
.com.
you know.
How, when you first started your bonnet business, C's Design Shop, how long did you plan on running that business?
That is so funny because I will say that I started my business when that whole hashtag black owned business,
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of a pandemic. That's when I decided, what, let me step up and start my own business. So when I started my business, in my mind, I was like I said, 1 in 4 businesses fail,
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I was like, this is my first true business. I'm giving it my all, but if it fails, I'm ready for plan B. I have a
Yeah.
backup plan, I have a plan B, I have a plan C. But just so happened this one business took completely off. It
Mm-hmm.
it grew out of control within like my first 3 to 6 months. So I had to like really gather my thoughts and be like, all
Right.
right, we're gonna ride this way. We're
Yeah.
gonna ride it.
Mm,
So at that, I would say within like my first month, I realized this is something I can actually do. This is a
mm,
business I can expand. I can constantly add more and more inventory.
mm.
I do custom bonnets. I was like, all right, eventually I set out a 6-month game plan.
Yeah.
I want to add robes in the next 3 months. I want to add headbands in the next 6 months. I want to add this.
Mm,
So when I realized that this business game, I could figure it out
yeah.
and I could dominate the business game. When I realized if I put enough effort and I made enough sacrifices, because it was some sacrifices
Right.
in the beginning, but when I realized that if I gave it 110%, I could actually be successful in this. I could have multiple streams of income. I could let
Mm,
this business fund a different business and a different business. So once I realized that, I was like 5-year game plan.
yeah.
That little 3 month, 6 month game plan, it
Mm,
escalated to a 5-year game plan.
yeah.
And then a year and a half later, I decided, let me start another business. That's 5 more years. That's 10 more years.
Mm,
So the deeper I got into it, the longer my plan went. So now I'm at, okay, what's my 10-year game plan?
right.
Like I said, my daughter is 8 years old. When she gets 18, my motivation, my influence, my why, I don't want her to punch not one clock in her life.
Mm,
I want, by the time she makes 18, my business is big. I
yeah.
want people working for me. I already have, within my first year, I hired 2 people on to do different things to work for me. I want
Right.
to expand. I want to leave something for her. If something was to happen, guess what? I got something
Mm,
in place to where my kids can take over.
right.
That's where my motivation comes in, because the bigger I get, my motivation is always in the back of my mind. Why am I doing it? What is the reason I'm
Mm,
doing it? And what am I working towards? That's my destination.
I got you. I like that. So I guess for me, um, looking to have a business long term, my ultimate goal, my ultimate goal is to get some land, get some cattle, some animals far away from people, and just live my life. So
That's where it's at.
a lot of people have short-term goals and long-term goals. So my goals with my businesses was to be able to fund everything in the future,
Right.
even with my investments, even with everything that I have going on is to fund the future, because right now you can have fun and you can, do what you want to do or whatever and have that time and have that freedom. But what about in the future? Because
Exactly.
I've talked to a fireman and we had a long discussion, and he's about to retire in, I think, 2 years. And I said, man, what you gonna do when you retire? He said, man, I don't know. I guess I'll just start working for somebody else. I was
Oh,
like, bro, like, what you mean you gonna retire from your job to go and work for another job?
yeah.
My motto is I'm trying to retire by 40. I don't want to be working for nobody else about 40. So my motivation and my why is so strong that I can't just settle and I can't get comfortable. So long term, I want to have my businesses going to where I don't have to be there and it's still running. So when I'm on my farm cutting the grass and riding my horses, my business is still gonna be running. So uh yeah, that's my motivation. I only told like two people that, yeah, two people. Because I love people, but I just want to be self-sufficient. So I want to
Right.
have my own land. I want to get a well. I want to um like farm my own produce and groceries and stuff like that, and meat and everything. Like I don't want to have to go to the grocery store unless I really have to. I don't really I love people, but I don't like being around a lot of people because I'm an introvert. So I'm good. I'm an introvert and I'm an only child.
An
So
introvert with a podcast. Who would have
introvert with a
thunk it?
podcast and the only child. So I am completely comfortable being by myself in a room all day long. And that is the complete opposite of my business because I'm in the
Right.
industry of network marketing and having a podcast. So my job
Yes.
is to talk to people, is to motivate people, inspire people. And I literally have to step outside of my comfort zone if I want to reach my goal, I have
Right.
to step outside of my comfort zone.
Yes. Yes. And
So yeah,
that's it. That's
go
what you
ahead.
have to do. You have to step out of your comfort zone. Prime example, you're an introvert. You're on a podcast in front of potentially millions of people talking, like, and you're an introvert. Like, it's just so cool. You have a business where every time I open up my phone in the morning, who I see Tyrone and his business. So you have to, but looking at you, you wouldn't think, oh, he's an introvert. Why? Because you put on your game face to run your business, and that's what works. You understood what to do, what works, and you
Yeah.
put that in place, and you decided, let me do what works, and now it's working. So it's
Mhm.
like you have to know what is your goal. First and foremost, do you
Yeah.
want to be successful? Do you want to have a business that you can pass down for
Mhm.
generations to generations? Or do you just want to make a few $1,000s for a couple months or a couple $100, for a couple
Mhm.
months and then quit? You have to know, and you have to have a game plan, and you have to know, is this something that I want long term, or
Yeah.
I just want to make some money real quick?
And definitely be true to yourself, because if you do just want short-term money, and if you if you're not true to yourself and you in your heart know that you just want to make a few dollars and get out, but you plan for 10, 20 years, it's going to be overwhelming, and you will be stressed and you will be
Absolutely.
tired and you will be overthinking so much, because in your heart you know that you just want to do this for 5 years and get out. But
Right.
in your mind and social media and so many influencers are like, you got to do this for the long term, you got to go for the distance, but that's not what you want.
Right.
So know your goal. Do some research about what you want to do. Find something that you want to do. I know on our first podcast we were talking about selling t-shirts, selling hats. You sell bonnets and life insurance, and I sell health and wellness products. Find something, anything. Like get off the couch and find something, and then do some research on it. How many
Right.
people need this? Or do people even need it in your area? I know me and
Right.
one of my friends was talking about doing event spaces. We live in in Mississippi. Like there's not a lot of events going on here in my city in Mississippi. So if we were to get a space, it would have to be in a bigger city because that's where the people are. They're doing multiple events. So know what you want to do, and then know your market. Do
Right.
your research, and and prepare yourself mentally for what is coming. But I'll tell you, I don't want this podcast to sound so negative about starting a business because it is hard. It is not like a traditional job where you just go to work, do your
Right.
job, and go home.
Ain't no sugarcoating.
There's no sugarcoating it because you in business, you gonna wake up, work, and you get off when you get done. If
Right.
you get done, because it may
Right.
have to carry over to the next day.
Listen.
Because I had, oh man, I had one. Because I also, we also have a DJ business as well. I'm retired from that. I'm gonna state this for the world to know. I am a retired DJ. That means if you call me, I'm not gonna do it. I'll pass it on to one of my business partners. I'm retired. I'm not gonna do it. So during the pandemic, there were people that wanted to do Zoom weddings, which is great. They were paying great. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So there was this one particular wedding, and if they watch this and they hear about it, I love y'all, but y'all business about to get put out there. We literally, me and one of my partners, we worked from 8 o'clock that morning to 8 o'clock that night on Zoom the entire wedding.
Oh.
Because we had to figure out how we was gonna play music through the Zoom. It had an update that we didn't know about to the last minute, so we had to update Zoom, go get some cords, go get some equipment, go to the store and hope that was open on a Saturday, and do all of this work, and then make sure it was working. And so we was talking to people before it started, and then they actually got married, so we was playing the music for the wedding,
Oh.
and then when they were gone, they had a drive-by. Everybody was going to wave and do the little drive-by. So we had to entertain the people that was on the Zoom while they were doing the drive-by, and then the reception. And then after the reception, people wanted to just chit-chat. So we had to stay there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. So I'm saying that to say this, it pays well.
I would have ranked them that invoice up. Here we go.
However, you don't stop till the work done, till the job is done. So where you go to work, you clock in and you clock out. You don't clock in and you clock out. You wake up, you clock in. That's it.
Man, I mean, that's rough.
So no, if you want to start a business, this is what you're gonna have to go through. Now, every other podcast we do after this is gonna be like, yeah, business, yeah, entrepreneurship, yeah. But right now, you better figure out if you don't, you're gonna waste and spend a lot of money and don't have nothing to show for it. And this is not what you want to do.
Yes, nothing like spending thousands of dollars on a business that you wasn't prepared to run, and you didn't do your research, and you just missed out on your money because, I mean, you just wasn't ready. So that's why we create this podcast. That's why we have our future episodes to help you get ready. First, we want to start with, is it for you? If you, after listening to this podcast, if you feel like, I'm ready, I got tough skin, I'm ready for the rude people, I'm ready for the product shortages,
I'm ready for my family, everything. Come on, tell me no. Tell me not, dare you. Tell me no. Come on. Let me hear. No.
If you feel like you're ready, all right, let's move forward. Because what we're going to do, we're going to make sure you know where to start. You know how to pick the right business. You know how to market that business. You know how to grow that business. And you know how to reach your goals. So that's all we're going to give you for episode 1. We can't put everything. I wish we could have a 24-hour long podcast.
We'll be out here all day. Talking. Experiences. It's been some crazy stuff that's happened in business, man. It's stuff that you don't really think about. Yeah, we're not gonna get off.
We'll save some.
Yeah, we'll save a little bit for the next time. So y'all gotta come back. Y'all gotta come back if y'all want to hear the rest of the story.
Absolutely. We got a lot planned for y'all. We have a lot planned. We are here to help y'all. You know, a lot of people weren't raised with the information that you need. A lot of people didn't get the education that they need to start a business. So we are laying it out for you. We are helping you. By the end of this podcast, whether it's next year, whether it's the next year, you should have a business started. if we are laying out the blueprint and telling you this is how you find the right business, this is how you start this business, this is how you grow this business, this is how you market the business, listening to this podcast, you should have at least one business started. Okay? That's all we got for episode one.
At least one. And don't get me started on multiple streams of income. I'm gonna say this. We got a minute. I hope y'all caught what Cee said about multiple streams of income.
Right.
When she had that one business that was able to bring in the flow of income for her to start other businesses. I feel like all too often people hear multiple streams of income, and so they start starting multiple jobs at the same time, and it ends up becoming a job. 5 different jobs. You got 5 different things going on that's bringing in sprinkles, and it's not, and you're not getting anywhere. You feel as stressed out as you were on your job.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more later. So we're gonna get into that. It's just when you said that, I wanted to say it because if I don't write it down or if I don't say it, I'm gonna forget it.
You're old man. It's time to get them horses.
It's time I go get my little horses and my little goats. Yeah, man. But anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for sipping with us on the Boss Business Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Boss Business Pod. Also, if you would like to sponsor a show or be interviewed, email us at
bossbusinesspod@gmail.com.
You can also send us topics to discuss, questions to be answered, or just let us know how we doing. If we trash, tell us. If we doing good, let us know, man, so we can keep doing it. And even if we trash, we still gonna keep doing it because we love what we do. But anyway,
right.
Also, I'm gonna leave you with this quote. And this quote is by the man named Inky Johnson. He's a motivational speaker. He said, life will only change when you become more committed to your dreams than you are to your comfort zone.
Wow.
I'm gonna say it again.
Say it again.
Life will only change when you become more committed to your dreams than you are to your comfort zone. We'll see y'all next week on the Boss Business Podcast. Sip with y'all later.
All my life, been grinding all my life, sacrifice.